They don't upset me at all, really. I just look at them like this, wonder why they're there, and move on. And I'm completely fine about it afterwards. You know, sometimes you just have to embrace them.
Right now, I'm reviewing this guy by the name of StooDogg.
Oh hey, that me. Hi.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's me, StooDogg. Well, who were you expecting? Pat Boone? Anyway, before we get on with today's video...
Hold it, please.
Which is the second part of the reaction to things that Jared Wars had to say, I have a bit of housekeeping to do. I got some comments. This is a spicy one. Usually when people don't like me, they just pretty much say stuff like, "You suck cabbages." Quite like cabbage. Delicious. Probably not the most conducive thing to eat to go along with video making, to be honest, but yes. Cabbage. Anyway, I thought this comment was interesting, well thought out, and kinda spicy. So, let's have a look, shall we? Got it right here. So this comment was in regards to my previous video of this series, the first part of the response to Jared Wars. So I'm just going to read it out and interject with my own little points. Just so as you know, when I went to the channel who left a comment, and I found that there was no information about them. They had no videos. Their profile picture was merely a standard Google letter on a background. I was wondering if perhaps this was a troll account or a spam account. I looked into it. The account's been there for several years. It's been on YouTube for at least, if not longer than the same amount of time as I've been here. So, yeah, I mean, if you're not posting videos, you have every right to comment on things. A lot of YouTubers feel that if you don't make videos yourself, then, oh my god, you're not allowed to comment because you don't have any videos. But I'm not like that. Everyone has the right to comment. Isn't that the First Amendment? However, by utilising that right, you also have the right to be criticised. Holds up the black book. Anyway, I'm going to read it like I was an archduke. Absolutely painful to watch, would not recommend. If you think he's eventually going to explain the purpose of the video, he doesn't. Well, that's what titles are for. And what was the title? My response to Jared Wars? My response to points raised by Jared Wars? I feel that's quite a self-explanatory title. Anyway, let's carry on, shall we? This video was suggested to me. Thanks, Internet. Well, suggestions are based on your previous search history, so there must be something in there that made you come in my direction, my friend. I started listening, and I had absolutely no idea who StooDogg was or what the video was about. That's fair enough. This video was essentially the second part, maybe third part, in an ongoing, I guess you could call it a back and forth now. I made a video which Jared Wars made responses to. So, in all honesty, you'd need to have seen them for the context behind it. Stepping in at this stage, yeah, might not have worked out for you. After a minute of intro, I still didn't know, and skipped ahead 10 minutes. Okay, so you were watching a video that you didn't know what it was about, and you skipped most of it. Okay. After listening to two people talk to each other about talking to each other, I still had no idea and gave up. Well, you had no idea what the video was about after not watching it, and you simply gave up. Well, okay. let's carry on. I don't care what these two are doing. Oh, fair enough. They can't communicate. I'd beg to disagree. In 15 years of chefing, I think I know how to communicate. But that's merely my own personal opinion about myself, based on what others have told me. Anyway, let's carry on. Is this politics? No. Gaming? No. I had to go to StooDogg's channel just to find out. It's about YouTube copyright law and gaming. Enticing.
Okay.
YouTube copyright law and gaming? I don't think that's what my channel's about, but if that's the... I'd be interested to know how you came to that conclusion. Anyway, I might make a little response. I won't be overly catty about it, but I don't feel that this comment was helpful in any way. Really, there's nothing that I can do to improve this viewer's viewing experience. I don't know, I felt my last video started off... Yeah, the intro was a bit long, but I thought it was entertaining. I went through it in editing, chopped out quite a lot, as I usually do. Got rid of any guff that wasn't important. They gave an explanation as to why I hadn't responded quicker. Tick that box. And it gave an explanation as to the nature of the back and forth. So I disagree with the comment on that part. Oddly enough, this person did not leave a dislike on the video. That's kind of what finger down buttons are for, but okay. The video in question still has a 100% like rating and 0% dislikes. And overall my channel has a 91% like rating. So I think we can just, well, publish that comment and leave it as it is. Let the other people who see it choose to respond in whatever way they see fit. But I think the people have well and truly voted that this man is in the minority.
Kirk is on the mountain.
What I will say is that Google and YouTube recommendations are quite random. It's not my fault that someone who may not necessarily like my content found their way here. I've seen football suggested to me. I fucking hate football. Oh, I don't hate it. I don't partake in the watching of the foot of the ball. I only have a passing interest in it during European tournaments and the World Cup. It's not something that I want to see. If it's suggested to me on my homepage, then I would avoid it. Much as I believe that this gentleman seeing something totally random, a totally random video by a guy that he's never seen, never heard of before.
They just dislike me as a person, probably.
Talking about a subject that he's obviously never heard of Jared Wars before either. So, I don't know why this gentleman clicked on my video. Is an absolute and utter mystery to me. As much as its suggestion to him seems to be an absolute and utter mystery to him. Who knows? Who knows?
You know, sometimes it's nice to know that your videos are reaching more than just your usual viewer circle. For example, people who just discovered your channel and just realised they didn't like it as much as they thought they would.
Oh, bother!
But that's alright, you can't please everyone, honestly. Some people will like you, and there will be some people who won't. But that's alright.
Anyway, a response to Jared Wars. So, this video goes over the things that he brought up when he made a response video to the video about Jared Genesis that I made about a month ago, 5 weeks ago, however long ago it was. Anyway, all the information on my video and the video that I'm responding to can be found down below in the comment sections and in the description sections. So if you want to go back and have a look at them for the context, feel free to do so. I will warn you that my initial video is an hour long, and Jared Wars' response to that is longer. obviously, because he's interjecting with his own comments. So it maybe comes to about an hour and a half, an hour and 15 minutes, something like that. I've removed a great deal of chaff and stuff that I feel wasn't really relevant to go over. And I've only kept the sort of main bodies of things that I felt warranted a response and things that I wanted to respond to, which I hope I can clear up with Jared Wars over the course of this video. Anyway, to the virtual studio!
So we get to this guy, StooDogg, and for the first 30 minutes, and this is an hour video, it talks about myself, Daniel Minecraft, and Dark Ninja. And I've seen the first 30 minutes of this, and this guy is including FazePremarina, who I only heard from the Hatman people, and Lady Damocles.
However,
Get my
today
shit
I
on the
want
TV.
to go a little bit more over
Uh-oh,
the
I'm sorry.
community that's sprung up around Jared. A few.
I am not part of Jared community.
I am not part of the Jared community. I would disagree with that statement. Whether you want to be or not, you are a part of it, and you have garnered the attention of that community and been essentially dragged into it. The next segment is regarding Jared Alphagenesis. How it has been seen that Jared Alphagenesis has perhaps committed crimes. However, no one is reporting him for these crimes. It would perhaps be prudent for them to do so. However, people not reporting crimes, but other people are just randomly attempting to swat him. I believe my statement in the video was that they were just basically calling his local police department and going, "Oh, there's a guy who's got a gun there." And the police were going round and, not finding anything. As opposed to victims of his pedophilia calling the police and reporting his alleged pedophilia. Like, duh.
Why not have him swatted for the crimes that he's actually committed?
I agree.
If a troll wants to pay 20 quid to send a pizza to Jared's house, then
It's
20
stupid.
quid out of the troll's money.
It's stupid, that's what it is. Pure stupidity.
Reality of that is.
Yes, I find it very odd as well that trolls are trolling Jared Alphagenesis by essentially giving him free pizza. I don't understand that one either, Mr. Wars.
Yeah, but listen to all these idiots.
An entrapment style.
Alright,
These
who's
trolls
why?
would
Show
send
me.
him messages
Me.
pretending to be underage girls, and Jared would send nudes to them. And Jared claims that he's sending them nudes to troll them.
Yeah, I know. It's,
Again, this is almost like the
bullshit.
whole
and even if it was true, so to speak, that's a foolish way to put yourself into harm, into people really thinking that you're really into children, just for a hypothetical example.
Jared Alphagenesis would attempt to troll his trolls by sending them naked pictures of himself. That is stupidity. The man is only setting himself up to be blackmailed. This is my favourite part. FazePremarina. Bravely bold FazePremarina brought forth from the YouTube. He was not at all afraid to comment on dogs' nasty ways. Brave, bravely brave, FazePremarina.
Where the heck is it?
Hey, StooDogg.
Oh no, it's FaZe. What in the world is this guy?
Apparently, at one point, FazePremarina attempted to get in touch with Jared to try and be
Rub dongs
allies
together.
with him. An alliance which ended
That's a nice
bitterly.
name.
That meme was created by my friend Thomas Beckett. Credit in the description below.
Perhaps more bitterly on FaZe's side, as most alliances that
We got those
FaZe
two
makes,
characters from Sesame
most
Street.
peace treaties that he makes, seem to end in FaZe just being a caustic little man. Let's have a look at this.
This is Face Marina and bestest
I love
Jared, aka Alpha Genesis. How
I
dare you
figured-
put an person Joe? You fucking
Person
shit.
Joe.
Huh? You have nobody to pick on your. Dude,
Come on,
you're
man.
more to pick on than me. Because, dude, you want to pick on little girls, you want to have sex with little girls. Warren just went to jail
Go to jail
for 100 years.
for 100 years.
And now his followers are, I don't know.
I honestly don't know what FaZe is on about here, but either way, it's just hilarious.
You're the worst of the worst, dude. Okay? Late Navis is right.
Really,
That
Democles
asshole.
is right.
And I was asking for help from you. I do, though. I stoop though, but I'm not gonna do that again.
See, wars. Where the fuck is my channel?
And I'll take you arrested.
On Comcast.
And I'm gonna post this on YouTube and Facebook. So everybody knows that you're a fucking pedophile.
Alright, where's my channel?
I'm deceased.
Oh, FaZe Primarina. The gift that keeps on giving. Ladies and gentlemen, I have not seen hide nor hair of FaZe Primarina in some time. He hasn't appeared in comment sections, he hasn't uploaded any videos? Are we going to call them videos? I don't know what they are. He hasn't uploaded anything, and some of his channels appear to have been deleted. However, I'm relatively sure that when he's brave enough to come back, he probably will. FaZe Primarina bravely ran away. When danger reared its ugly head, he bravely turned his tail and fled. Yes, FaZe Primarina turned about, and gallantly he chickened out. Bravely taking to his feet, he beat a very brave retreat. Bravest of the brave, FaZe Primarina.
The War of the Bucket.
I had seen this flute Italian song. It was something that Thomas Beckett had posted to Twitter, and I'd been watching it around about the same time as I was making the original video, and I had a few ideas from it, a few things I wanted to use from it for the video that I'd made. I felt that the War of the Bucket was an appropriate thing to use to tell the story of Jared Wars, really.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there's a man who goes by the name of Jared Wars. Let's have a look at him and have a think about what he does.
This video was obviously recorded before I had 36 subscribers, which I shouldn't have nobody.
I don't know what that number currently stands at, but I'd estimate probably somewhere between 50 to 100 now.
Welcome to another Jared Wars, and this is a video episode entitled What Really Pisses Me Off. You push my button. Oh, I see. Yeah, the things that turn me off as far as people saying stuff, you know, stuff like being called looking at people as experiments. Those are the things that people make assumptions on with me, and I was talking about that in that video. I remember. In a sense that pisses me the fuck off. One of the things here I am just talking that little talk I do, pisses me the fuck off, you know, using that word all the time. It really pissed me off that I've had within the last 5 to about 7 years is when people start to think that I am using them as an experiment when I'm only contemplating based on long-term experience. How in the world and being Where is Jared
say
Wars?
deliberately that I look at them as some specimen or some kind of
Oh no, my radio's acting up.
I hate when people say that, because that's not what I be trying to get at all. I be speaking from my experience, but I do it in a different way.
Ladies and gentlemen, this Jared Wars fellow apparently used to go by the name of...
I wish he would have played the part where I said, let me turn this damn thing off, it's driving me nuts, that radio.
I believe I do. I believe that's one of the clips that I'd added into this video.
Piss4400.
Yeah, but I don't consider Piss4400 associated with Jared Wars. Jared Wars is a different channel, and the only reason why there was told of Piss4400 is because in video 4 I will talk about it later on, so...
Not exactly the best of usernames, I must admit.
It was meant to be not the best username. I actually meant it to be a name that was not really for people.
So, the username Piss4400, which Jared Wars had in the past, must have been satirical in nature.
But, okay, it's certainly attention grabbing.
Jared Wars, yeah. The original name came from the name Yarrett Wars. There's a guy who makes a video about Gorgeous George. He calls himself Yarrett Wars, and so Yarrett rhymes with Jarrett, so I said Jarrett Wars, and that's where I came up with the name.
I consider his contents to be
sketchy.
Well, that was some kind of rubbish content that I listened to. I'd say watched, but it was just a black screen.
I will offer an apology for perhaps being a little bit harsh. However, I do feel that I stand by everything that I said in this video.
Well,
yes.
In his own words, he's described his content as being essentially period blood being squeezed out of a wound.
Yes, the same way as I just the way I put out what's on my mind is no different than what water comes out from a faucet or blood that comes out when a woman or people have menstruals.
He's described his videos as a menstruation of his thoughts.
Yes. He did it better than I did. The menstruation of my thoughts. Wow, I should add that on my future videos.
His own words now. His content is so vast that I cannot find the exact references that he said this, and believe me, I have ingested a great deal of this man's content. I mean, in all honesty,
can't find my own channel.
Farting about with fucking live streams all the bloody time, and actually did a bit of work on himself, did a bit of work on his channel, and did a bit of work on improving his content.
I agree.
He might get somewhere.
Well, here's the thing. I don't want to get nowhere with Jared Wars. It's something sentimental and something kind of spiritual to me. If I want to get somewhere, I want to do it on another platform, another channel, you know. But yes, everything else, I agree with you nonetheless.
A suggestion that I would have would be a rebrand of your channel, a renaming, a rebranding to perhaps something to do with scripture or biblical studies. It's something that you appear to have a great deal of knowledge about.
What I can say about Jared Wars is that this man simply does not appreciate the fact that his viewers are giving him the most valuable currency that they have.
Believe it or not, the people that you're referring to are trolls. I had some of them been around for about maybe 2 to 3 years. Some been around longer. I know what you're talking about, but they're trolls. Some of them came from the Gorgeous George stuff, which I do have. I'm not finished with the Gorgeous George project, but they come from them. There's some that just subscribe just to see what goes on and look at me as a circus show, so it's all kinds of people.
Whilst you can say that some of your subscribers and some of the people that watch your content could be considered as trolls, my counter argument to that would be some but not all. I mean, I have no doubt that some of my subscribers are trolls, but I find the positives, the good people, seem to outweigh the trolls. I would prefer to look at the wine glass as being half full rather than looking at it as being half empty.
You came, from my assumption, from the perspective of this Jarrett stuff, so...
In a manner of speaking, I was in the live stream where you'd had an argument with someone on Hatman's channel, to which Hatman a few days later had made a video addressing you. At that time, I was putting together research notes for my video that I was making about Jared Genesis, but my video itself was still in the embryonic phase. I'd initially been planning on making a video about Jared Genesis and a video about the community that had sprung up around him, but when I was putting everything together, I didn't have a video topic for that week. I had found that I was able just to put everything into the one video.
That is their time, and he is quite simply wasting that commodity.
Because the people on there are really not worth it. Some of them are trolls, some of them are doing stuff now that I see you making comments under.
My research has taken me to many places on the YouTube.
And other people, this fourth person I'm going to talk about has been doing as well, and has been making video responses, this fourth person, so...
In abundance. I've been working on my lighting, which is still an absolute mess, to be honest. It's not so much my backlighting that the problem is, it's more front lighting. So I need to get a light to go.
Cool story, Stu. Every time I watch myself back, it's always lighting, lighting, lighting. My lighting. I need lights. I need better lights.
Like what? You're sitting right?
Yeah, it does look like my camera a little bit, sort of, but sometimes these lenses on these cameras, they're so sensitive to certain light. It's amazing, but my mother's camera, when she bought it, which is really junk as far as the quality, but the machine itself is well built. It was $1,000 in 1995. Now that's the money that you can spend today on a 4K.
But I've been thinking about.
Well, actually, a 4K camera used, or like maybe a professional HD, at maybe around that for a second-hand one on eBay, depending on the condition. I don't know.
My problems with my content. Trying to find little ways to make it a bit better. I've been gradually working on that since I started on the platform. This man with his black screens and his several hour long live streams. He claims he wants to try and get better.
But I want to try to make videos better. I want to sound better in my videos. I want to be able to do things that...
And I wasn't necessarily talking about Jarrett Wars, so to speak. I was talking about anything. Because, if I know I did better on Jarrett Wars, I'll be asking too much than when I really am after.
There is nothing stopping you from going after your goals. The only thing holding you back is your own lack of confidence, which, really the only advice that I have for you is to work on that and try to gain confidence, being that by working with it yourself, or perhaps talking to a behavioral therapist person who might be able to give you advice and help on that.
Even if people don't understand, they'll understand the video regardless. I mean, you can watch a video, you can still not understand a person.
But his actions don't show it. He asks for help. YouTube is full of help gurus. I myself follow a gentleman called Brian G. Johnson. My friend Dan Courier of Creator Fundamentals has a great deal of videos on how to get better using simply a mobile phone. It would behoove Jared Wars to...
Well, here's the issue. Some of that costs money, which may not be a lot of money, but I'm on a budget, as far as a short budget, and I'm trying to save up now so I can do better with things, but I'm not just talking about those videos, I'm talking about with a lot of stuff, that and everything in its mama. So
you have a microphone, you have a computer, you possibly have cameras. I'm using Audacity right now to record this. That's free. Okay, my editing software, Magix Vegas 14, cost me £20 some time ago when it was on deal with Humble Bundle, but there are editing softwares you can get for free. DaVinci Resolve. I've heard of another one called Shotcut, and Lightworks was the one that I used before I got Vegas. There's OBS that can be used to record things as well. So budget isn't really an issue when you can get a lot of these things for free. As I mentioned, I'd made a background using Canva, a web page that is free to use. You'd be amazed at what you can produce for actually nothing, just using the tools that you have to hand.
Into some of this help guides that are on the platform to try and improve his content, if that's what he seeks to do.
Plus I have a lot of limitations of stuff I don't know, like things I wasn't taught that normal people were taught, kind of issues, and just stuff that not many people would be accustomed to as far as helping me. So for me to learn some of the things I know, like soldering, it took me about 1.5 years because I dealt with a combination of people who were insensitive because of the fact that I couldn't read or spell the things I say, and some wouldn't even speak to me because of those things on forums and parts of YouTube and even on the internet in general, just because of those things.
I mean, hell, I can give you a bit of help right now. Look at this. I'm just making a video in the same way that you are. I'm not going to edit this short segment of audio just for the sake of it, innit? So, let's work on making things better one by one, shall we? Let's add in a background. This background is something that I made up in literally 5 minutes in camp.
I've just been lazy. That I will admit to.
Well, that's fair enough, I suppose. I mean, if anything, just go outside and take a photo of a tree. I mean, my background that I use is relatively simple. You don't have to go over the top or have anything that's absolutely crazy. Even something simple will do. I sometimes even take some footage in the back garden of different animals that run about there when I throw out some seeds and bread for them to eat.
And let's add in a little bit of music.
And I've been lazy at that, but the music part I would have to learn on my own, but the background part, yeah, I've been lazy on that.
Music. You can download free music from YouTube itself. The YouTube audio library is accessible to all creators. There are also a lot of different artists who produce music that can be used by YouTubers. Kevin MacLeod, for example, who produces the background music, which is in this particular piece of video, the Tuba Plum Fairy by Kevin MacLeod.
There. From blank screen to something to look at and something to listen to in the space of, the recording says 56 seconds.
You're kidding me. I'm not on here?
I'm just going to add this audio in unedited.
It should be on here.
So with my pauses and with my breathing, you know, if you want to be extra adventurous, you could cut them out. You could make this even shorter. But there, that video advice 101.
Yeah,
right there.
I agree.
Anyway, back to me. Take it away, me.
If he doesn't actually seek to improve his content, then he should stop complaining about it and just continue on as he is.
Well, it's hard not to complain when you don't like it, and it's hard to get away from something when you don't have a choice. You see, it's some things are different, you know. But I agree with you 100%.
You have the choice to make better content, and Rome is not built in a day. But if you start now, start learning new things, and move on that path, then you will gradually get somewhere. So far, it's taken me 3-4 years to make videos like this, which, admittedly, are not great, but they are orders of magnitude better than the first videos which I produced several years ago. And that is all pretty much self-taught.
The only thing, the most I can do is add a background and maybe some music.
Then go for it. I dare you to do both of these things, or even one of them, one at a time.
That part what you say, but this other stuff, it's going to be hard, mostly because of money and knowledge and the confidence and coming to people with knowledge and stuff. And I had, like I said, it took me about 2 years to learn some basic soldering, something I should have learned maybe a month or so, but because of the cruelty on the internet.
Yeah, people that use the internet are arseholes, myself included.
And people that had mistreated me over spelling and reading and simple other stuff that I should have learned, that people, instead of putting that aside, they ended up using that as an issue with me rather than the subjects that I put on these forums or on YouTube for that matter.
Since I saw him...
Which I never did YouTube videos as an active user, but I would do video responses directly to the people on the forums. And then what would happen is I would do those just because I would get someone that complained and say, well, you didn't, you know, I'm not going to respond to you if you don't know how to type like this. And I'm like, dude, you know, this is not, well, don't worry about my reading, my typing. If you don't understand, I could do a video, I would say to them. So
in a live stream some time ago, he had a what he terms as a bit of an oopsie social interaction with someone. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, there was a misunderstanding with somebody, and I think there was. I thought the conversation was about something else. I didn't know it had something to do with someone's health problem, and I didn't know till someone told me
what happened there.
And when I found out, I went on and explained to the person that, look, you know, I understand where you're coming from, but I didn't know. And she understood me, and we both understood each other. So, because I just arrived at that stream, I think at that time, or a little after that.
I have watched and listened to a lot of content by Jared Wars. Now, he used to go by the name of Pedogenesis.
Yeah, that was the name I came up with because Jared has been looked at as a pedo, and really the stuff he does is pedophilia crap. Of course, like all people that do wrong, they have never always did wrong all their life.
Perhaps quite a Christian belief would be forgiveness.
Now, I get the assumption from people, which the fourth person I'm going to do, he has the same assumption, that I defend Jared, I'm obsessed with Jared.
The channel name gives the impression that you may be obsessed with Jared Alpha Genesis.
The most I'm obsessed with is my personal beliefs with religion, and that is with God.
Then why not rebrand your channel to something like The God's Honest Truth? I believe that is a saying that you use from time to time.
And I'm not just talking about in forgiveness like some people think I am. I'm talking about how I discovered Jared 2 years ago as Brother Jared. There was no Alpha Genesis, there was no Jared Genesis or nothing like that.
Time, which is obviously something to do with Jared Genesis. Not
a lot of times,
something to do with the Gardner stuff.
Well, you know, the Gardner guy was actually based on a real pedo. That was actually a picture of a pedophile.
I'm honestly not sure. My reference was to do with a soil reclamation term called pedogenesis, which is something to do with gardening.
This Gardner guy, I'm not sure if he was a gardener, but I went on Google and I said pedophiles, and I found this strange guy with glasses and like something from a cartoon site. Used him, you know.
Then he was called the Jared Wars Report, but
really it wasn't a report channel, so I just put it back to what it was.
In watching his content, I'm not entirely sure what it's about, and he gives a...
And that's what a lot of people say. It's like they're not sure what it's about, so like at least you're honest to tell me that, and that, you know, I do come off sketchy, and I don't try to, but it's just, I guess a part of it is maybe because of maybe not giving no kind of perspectives or transparencies, like you were saying, adding pictures and stuff. Also, unlike the other people who are not honest and think that I'm a Jared supporter, as far as somebody that would support someone's evil habits, and that's what I mean by, and that's what they mean by a Jared supporter. Unlike them, you are actually saying it in a sincere way. You're honest, and he even shows what I wrote on here. So this guy was actually nicer to me as far as his review about me, and honest and unprejudiced, biased behavior. And it's a 5-star review of the best I ever seen from anybody else.
Well, thank you. I did my best to be as unbiased and as unprejudiced as possible, essentially just looking at the situation from someone outside of the bubble.
Little bit of stuff in his description section that says, if you want to know more about what my channel's about, watch
and this. I tried to explain everything from day one on this link in this video. This is just a video you watch, and it talks about where all this began.
Video, and it's just another one of these black screen.
Yeah, it's just a black screen. Basically, I don't consider my videos. I consider them just voice recording. You know, in the 90s, how they took voice recorders and people did memos. That's kind of what I do, but I do a long one. I write a diary kind of a video.
USS Excelsior, NCC 2000, Captain's Personal Log Supplemental.
Or recording, so
uploads, and there's a playlist of more of them, and
yeah, man-child hour, where I was going silly and saying stupid shit, which I normally do once in a while. Not only, I used to do this a lot. My mother used to tease my mother about stuff when I was a kid. Oh man, more or less acting out, but not in a bad way.
Had enough, man. Like, it shouldn't be this difficult to work out what a channel is about.
It shouldn't be this difficult for people to figure out what this channel's about, but they, you know, I tells them.
You see, the thing is, yes, you are telling them, but it's being drowned out by the sheer amount of content that you have.
And then they dispute with me and they say, well, no, you're full of shit. I said, how are you going to tell me and ask me what my channel's about? I tells them, and you tell me I'm full of shit because of what you think based on what you see. You know, ever heard of the term, don't believe everything you read and see? Like, not judging a book by its cover, you know what I mean? I'm not asking you to like me. I tell these people, I say, look, study your facts. And that's it. So, for an example, there's this one dude who I mentioned quite a few times now within the last few days, because fascinate me. He was the only first angry person I ever had on my channel. Because the ones I get are trolls. So he contemplated that I'm obsessed with Jared in a way that I approve his behavior. He also contemplated that I made fun of victims when the only thing I read in that video that he played was comments that trolls were making to Jared while Jared was getting swatted and while Jared was talking to these people and before he got swatted. And these were not victims. These were people that were trying to get information off of Jared and was making fun of him as well as being disgusted with Jared's behavior of making those statements saying I'll sleep with an 8-year-old and 9-year-old. And the way this other person, the way he made his video, he made it look like that I was making fun of victims when I don't even know the victims of Jared.
This perhaps sounds like a two-pronged thing. This sounds like there were maybe people making comments who were just trolls trying to essentially get a rise out of Jared, trying to make him do stupid things so they could be clipped and recorded. As for what you say about your reactions being used, perhaps the person was maybe using them out of context without showing that you were being aware that these trolls were just trying to get a rise from Jared. Using clips out of context is something that I try to be aware of. I will say now, full disclosure about this video, yes, there are various things I have clipped from your video, Jared Wars, and this is the main sort of body of things that you had to say about me, because the part of it's me addressing you directly, but the only sort of editing I've done during this part, I haven't done anything to warp or twist things. Really all I've done is I've cut out some ums and some ahs, and I've cut out some longish periods of silences just to try and make it flow a little bit faster, but I haven't done anything to alter the meanings of anything behind what's being said or what's being discussed. Apart from that, a little bit of volume tweaking here and there as well.
And anybody that knows me well knows I don't make fun of victims of any kind. What if it's cancer? What if it's anything? That's something I just don't do. But I do get silly, and I do get kind of weird once in a while, and I will admit that. And I say some things, and I maybe do some things that might be off the wall or even out of hand. But if when I make those mistakes, I apologize.
Inappropriate and perhaps off-the-wall humour. Well, I think we're all guilty of that. I've certainly told the odd slightly mad joke that didn't quite land properly here or there, but I don't think that's anything to be overly worried about or ashamed of. If it happens, it happens. You just move on. It's not something to dwell upon.
I don't know.
Let me see how long this is, because I'm trying to do as best I can.
This is how it feels to have consumed so much Jared Wars content.
Ugh. It's like... it's a mess. All this is a mess, folks. But the last thing I need is for somebody to tell me I am some kind of a person that is doing a lab rat kind of experiment. Want to read a comment? Let me turn this radio off. Oh, you did play it. This thing is like... oh, that was funny. Read something real quick. That's funny.
You're becoming a pest. Rabbit, rabbit, rabbit.
It saddens me to say that, but other people cannot help you if you do not seek to help yourself.
And that makes sense, because what's the point of asking for help from somebody and then yet you're not really following it, and then they're noticing that you're not taking advantage of what they're giving you? That's just wasting their time, and nobody likes their time being wasted. and they hate to see other people wasting their own time. More or less, they worry about their time more than the other person's. So I see your point, and it's valid. I have problems with laziness, and I'm not going to play the victim.
Well, same here. I mean, this video's taken me how long to make? A month?
Of that, and I never did. I always took responsibility for that problem. And a lot of my laziness stems from having ADD and ADHD. Not everybody that has this problem acts lazy. Some do. They have this short attention span or strong attention span of something where they got to focus on it so much that they can't do nothing else, even things that are not important. So it's sort of like it alters your brain as far as judgment. So not everybody will act like this, but some people, they have it bad, like me, and I'm not gonna, that's all I'm gonna say.
I honestly don't know if...
And with that said, just like any drunk person that's under intoxication, they know what they're doing as far as their behaviors, and they know enough to take responsibility to say, look, and own that responsibility. So, I own what you're saying about the other stuff that you're saying. So, everything else too.
Jared Wars is on the side of Jared or on the side against.
I'm actually in between.
That's kind of what I was thinking. However, I feel that your opinion of Jared goes... It's not along the lines of the Dark Ninja with his, Jared has good points, but I'm not going to list them because I'm not a nerd and I don't have a computer. But you feel that Jared's good points revolve around Christianity, and being a Christian yourself, you feel that in the Lord's eyes, he can be forgiven in some way.
I'm in the medium when it comes to Jared, and I openly said that to people. I said I'm in the medium as far as feeling sorry for his parents. I'm in the medium as far as wanting Jared to have a better life in a way that he doesn't do the things that he was doing before. And I'm on the fence for the fact that just like anybody else would protect their children, I don't want nobody to be doing stuff to children and actively doing it and knowing that is wrong, because I know that if I saw something before anyone else did, I would report it. I wouldn't be doing no videos about it. I would report it to the police. So, I'm really in the medium. And, I'll tell you this, if Jared, even if Jared wasn't brainwashed to believe the things that he was saying, that they were saying about me, after all this stuff that I have seen Jared do online, I would want nothing much to do with him. I would be kind of distant. But I think really what really kept me kind of more into keen to him was because, one, I believe in an entity and a religion that I'm sure you don't believe in. I don't know. I can't really say.
That's okay. I can't really say what I believe in either. I'm more of a follower of the science sort of roots of things. I have the thought that if there was a Lord God, then he would have shown himself in some way, shape or form in the recent memory of things, not just 2,000 years ago. I grew up studying the Bible in school and at church, but it was never something that was forced into my life in any way. I studied it as part of the school curriculum, and I attended church of my own free will. I have no issues with people who believe in God, or people who believe in different religions than standard Christianity. I accept people at face value, and if they seem to be, in my opinion, a good person or a decent person, then I will converse with them. If they do not seem to be a good person, then I will avoid them.
That is telling me to do something because I'm going to get blessed. That's my hunch. I don't know if I'm wrong. I'm not going to say if I'm right, but I do believe I have some gifts of prophecy, but that's my belief.
Jared, the man speaks.
I don't condone Jared's wrongdoing. In fact, the things that Jared says and does, I don't even condone it. In fact, I did videos against him doxing Chris and other people. I did videos against that. And actually, it was the first time I learned how to blur out stuff at that time, because I was getting complaints from these same people. And I was talking against Jared, but they made it look like as though I'm talking for Jared. And so I went on and I tells him, I said, why are you complaining to me? I'm just going by, I'm just doing a review. And, he asked me to take my address off. And I said, okay, well, I didn't mean to show it. It just happened, And so I, took it off. And even though I had a strike that wasn't fair, a fair strike, and I tried to appeal it, and YouTube wouldn't let me. So, but I took it down, I edited it, and I re-upload that same recording with a different picture. Simple as that. And I tells this guy, I said, look, all you have to do is talk to me. If there's something that you feel uncomfortable with on the video, tell me about it. I will work it out.
Yeah, that sounds like a really shitty move on the part of the other guy, considering that your email is visible in your description section. You're obviously not difficult to get a hold of if such a problem needs to be worked out.
And, at that time, he didn't know how to talk with me. All thing he knew how to do was just treat me in a hostile, kind of a mean manner. But I think we reached an agreement, even though we have our differences, but we kind of reached a little mutual respect as far as simple communication, simple human respect,
In riddles.
For years and years and years at a time.
Oh, you won't stop talking. Why don't you give it a rest?
And quite often his content has very little to nothing to do with Jared, focusing a lot on a gentleman by the name of Gorgeous George.
Not all the time, but sometimes. A lot of times I'd be focusing on myself, because the idea of Jared Wars was not to focus on Jared all the time. It was sometimes Jared, but more on me, because of some of the things I've seen of Jared as far as social problems and other things I've seen of myself. And the balance between myself and him is that he is wasting talent that I don't even have and was never taught, like reading, riding a bike, all this stuff. He's wasting it and staying at home as if he is so handicapped mentally and physically that he can't do nothing. But the only problem that he has is social interaction. And, I tells his dad, I says to him, if that's the only problem I got as your son, I'd be happy. Because then I got the resources, much more so as a normal person, to be able to get up and do researches online or whichever the fuck I have to do and fix those issues. But what does Jared do? He goes on websites, DeviantArt. He even communicates with any age, which is not normal. And he does all this crazy stuff that really doesn't get nobody anywhere from pretending that he knows about the Bible to pretending that he's an expert on all these different things. So, it's a lot of stuff. It's crazy.
As well as Jared Wars' own personal issues which he's had throughout his life.
Which I talk about a whole lot on this channel. And the personal issues I talk about, they may be related to Jared. A lot of them I talk about are not related to Jared, because Jared, as you know, intellectually his level is different. Psychologically, he's similar to me as far as social interactions, and even similar to social media problems like I have. Like, he doesn't know how to do videos, which I don't see why he should have that problem of anything. His parents, he lives with two parents. They worked. They bring bacon to the house. You know, he is able to do things that I can't do, simply. And that was one of the things that I was telling, I think, his father. I told his father a lot of stuff, I just don't remember.
From what I can gather, he's a gentleman who's had a rather rough upbringing.
Well, I wouldn't say a rough upbringing, but it's sort of rough. Mostly just stuff I didn't get help on, and it affected me tremendously.
I understand.
And what I try to do is empathize with those particular people like myself, which I don't know how many are there in this world, but if I could get one person, I said that'd be great, you know?
Exactly have the best of upbringings through personal health, mental health, issues with other people, issues with social interactions.
That's true.
Something which he talks about on a daily basis.
Because that's mostly what Jared's problem is. And so it's sort of like, you know...
Jared does appear to have behavioural and psychological issues. Some might say almost being sociopathic. Disclaimer, not a mental nurse. But some people would say that he seems to be sociopathic and lacks any form of empathy for anyone or anything that surrounds him.
What kind of made me more open about it is watching Jared and discovering him in 2017 and didn't know nothing about him.
In watching and interacting with Jared, you've been able to detect a weakness in yourself. You've found something that you wanted to try and fix about yourself because you've seen it in another person. And I think that the overall tale of Jared Alpha Genesis is a very cautionary one. It's a tale where people can look at him and say, I do not want to end up like that man.
I've just subscribed to some dude, had this weird premonition, that I finds out later who this dude's about, what his character was, a little idea, and I finally figured out why, you know.
This on his channel. Yet I am here, and there is a road in front of me that I am walking. I don't have to keep checking my rear view mirror every 5 minutes. Your past will simply weigh you down. Move forward.
Sometimes it'll weigh you down. Sometimes the past can actually relate to the future. So the stuff I'm saying is based on the future. So if something's in the past, it's completely just in the past. You can remember it, but if it's over, no different than removing a tumor from someone's body. Once that tumor gets removed, you know what happens to it. It's dead, it's gone, it's no longer part of the body, it's gone. So, but as long as these issues are still here, somewhere or somehow a part of the past is not closed. It's no different than an investigator says that this family can't get justice unless they find the killer of someone or the rapist of someone, for example. I can compare it to that, you know, other things.
And work on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a gentleman who states that he has a very poor vocabulary.
And I do because, and the only reason why I know what little I know, because I've heard it before. Mostly my mother, I would listen to my mother and how she talked. I listen to people how they talk, and that's how I pick up what little I know. But some of the words that people laugh at me of that I didn't know what it meant, I had to literally search on Google on live stream.
Then I put forward to you this challenge. Learn a new word every day. Today's word, I'll start it for you. Today's word is going to be iguana. You stated in your response to me that you did not know what iguana meant. Now, I'm going to tell you what it is, and I'm going to show a picture on screen towards the end of this video. I just want you to think about that word for a few minutes. If you want to, you can Google it, you can look it up, but if you don't, then that's fine if you don't want to step away from the video right now. But that will be addressed towards the end of the video.
And, though I'm going to play what he's going to say, and I'm going to commentate what I think of it, because it's sort of a contrary from my own one-on-one experience.
His live streams, vocabulary is just fine.
And it may seem fine at a first glance, but when you get deep into something, or when it comes down to explaining something and not knowing the words to say it, or the vocabulary, it's sort of crazy. I've seen these beds before where they're attached to a tree. I didn't know what they were called. I kept looking up a bed that's attached to 2 trees, and I found it. It was called a hammock, or a hemlock, or something, a hammock. All that time, and you see these on TV, cartoons, and I didn't know what that's called, a hammock. There's certain colors I don't know. I mean, like, Arbrin and all this other stuff. So, for an example,
he states that he has problems with language.
Somewhat I do. I mean, it's a lot of vocabulary and knowing stuff. Even doing stuff in life has a lot to do with vocabulary. It builds vocabulary up. One of the first stages of a child when he or she talks is the parent tells the child, "Dada, mama." That's the first vocabulary language. Then, hi, hello. I, at my earlier years, had what I had was called a developmental delay issues, which threw me off completely, and not only warped and give people deception of my true self and my true capabilities, but even gives deceptions even on people that talk positive, like you're doing now, on something that you really don't know, in a way that I know one-on-one. But I appreciate it, though, the comment. I appreciate it nonetheless. I really do.
I can empathize with that. However, the most powerful tool in the world is at your fingertips, the internet.
And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's why I'm following what I believe, what God is telling me regarding Jared. And I'm not going to say what I'm going to do regarding Jared, but I told his father what I was going to do, and he was more than happy to oblige. And I said, if this works, I said in my mind that, I hope that I get my reward from God. I just believe.
That's a very good, true, and faithful Christian belief. Do unto others as you would like done unto yourself, and your rewards in heaven will be great.
I think one of the reasons that I'm not the best strong person. I mean, I've had a nervous breakdown the other night, and I was talking to myself and was doing other stuff that I'm not going to tell nobody of, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, what in the hell am I going to do?
Use this tool. Use this amazing creation that humanity has developed to spread information.
That's what I'm going to do.
Throughout the world.
I'm going to play this video.
People who need help. Use this.
I think I said enough about myself and responding.
Learn language. Use this to help you.
But I haven't watched the first 30 minutes of this on my own.
It will take some time. Years.
I agree. I agree.
The tools are there.
I agree.
You state that you want to learn how to make music.
Oh yeah, I remember this. It was this it was some kind of a album or something I wanted to make based on someone I kind of knew from some place I used to go to, and I thought of a creation based on something, and the reason I couldn't do it was because, well, one was lack of vocabulary, two, I didn't really know much about rhymes or nothing. And 3, it was like a lot of other stuff that is sort of personal problems too. So
powerful teaching aid in the world. I'm reminded by something that a pop star, I don't know if pop star is really the right term to use, but a musician, a Marilyn Manson.
what about just like a music celebrity dude or somebody?
That he has no understanding of correct musical notation whatsoever. However, he loved music so much that he simply made his own musical notation.
Yeah.
And when he was making music, he just followed his own notes. Something that quite irked other people because they didn't understand it.
Yeah.
I find that quite amusing. And
I find that amusing too. And I don't even listen to Marilyn Manson. I've heard of him, but I didn't know who he was. I thought he was someone else. I didn't know he was a musician.
That is also quite powerful to say. I don't understand how to do a thing, so I'm just going to do it my own way. And that's a powerful lesson.
Sometimes you can't always do it your own way, because you might come off the wrong way with something or with somebody, or you might come off the wrong way with yourself.
Away from that. But as I stated, you have to try and help yourself.
That's true.
All others can do is give you advice, but if you're not willing to take it, you're not willing to do anything about it, then
I own that.
Well, we can't force you, we can't push you.
That's true.
Into walking down that road.
You know, the same advice that I gave to other people, as far as we could agree to disagree, or you can act the way you're acting. It's the same advice he's giving me, but it's not about agree to disagree. It's more like, you know, if you want help, you have to go and seek out for yourself, as well as taking advices, you know. So I own that. I'm just, you know, I take responsibility for my laziness and stupidity.
I wouldn't say stupidity. I would just say we're only human.
And feel bad listening to what he's saying as far as taking responsibility for it. So, yeah, this been bothering me for quite some time. And, you know, I want to get off this laziness thing, man.
I want to make things differently this time than it was before. I want my New Year's resolution to be mostly trying to do videos that are a lot different than what they are today and what they were in the past.
Alright, hour 7 minutes.
The choice, my friend, is yours.
And that's all she wrote.
You gotta be oriented towards something, because otherwise you're disoriented. You just spin around in circles and then you suffer.
The definition of insanity, yes.
Thank you very much. They say the definition of madness is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Ooh, that's right. Do I go?
People around you. It's not a good solution.
I know that means.
Orient yourself towards something. You have to figure out what it is. What will work for you? What goal would justify the suffering of your life? Start trying to piece that together. You're going to get better at it. Start trying to piece that together. You're going to get better at it. But it's a personal process, so you need a personal place to stand, because otherwise you're going to be handed a place to stand on a plate. And it may be one that makes you a puppet.
If that's you talking, you probably outdo Dr. Phil, because you make more sense than he does.
So this song and the quotes from it are from a guy called Jordan Peterson. I don't know, some kind of motivational speaker guy, I suppose. But in listening to this song, I felt that some clips from it were quite appropriate to add in throughout this video.
Of someone else's goals.
I'm serious.
And we have And this man is a master of disguise.
Oh no!
The Dark Ninja.
The Dark!
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is another episode of The Dark Ninja! Wow! What's up, guys? This is another episode of The Dark Ninja.
On his head.
I love this.
I had to use my boxers to cover my face because I couldn't find my mask.
The Dark Ninja. A man who can rarely find his mask, but can always find his boxer shorts. I don't know what this guy, man. Jesus.
When I'd initially saw the Dark Ninja going about in Catman's livestream chat some time ago, I thought, whilst he seems to be a bit of a pain in the arse,
I just look at him as an internet fool.
Jared Wars, I will agree with that point. The Dark Ninja is an internet fool who wears his pants on his face.
If you think that Jared's got good points and you have reasons to support him, you should make a video about it.
And he doesn't say what good points
make a video
he
listing,
makes.
say,
that's the problem.
5.
To this day, the Dark Ninja has never listed any good points that come from Jared Alpha Genesis.
He doesn't believe in computers.
Because they're for nerds. That goes back in the 80s.
So I guess he doesn't do.
The Dark Ninja believes that computers are for nerds and geeks. And computers have no good points whatsoever. Computers have no valid points. And computers are useless. Computers. The device that I'm sitting in front of right now, wearing a headset, using Audacity to record myself with my mouse in my hand to make this video whilst I've got Vegas Pro 14 open, editing this very video. Yeah, computers are useless. Good for nothing. Good point, Dark Ninja. Good point. Any good points about Jared yet? No? No? Didn't think so.
He doesn't say hello. He says, "Hey, join my Discord." I don't know if
that's what he always says to me. No, I don't want to be in that mess.
At time of recording, I have been in 3 Discords belonging to Dark Ninja. Each of them being an absolute and utter mess. There is literally nothing positive about them. They're just spam pits. Spam, abuse, and terms of service breaking galore. Yet he keeps creating Discord servers. It's like an addiction, in the same way that Face Primarina keeps creating YouTube accounts.
Hey, if you want to know who is also a Jared supporter and the difference between a Jared supporter and a non-Jared supporter, I suggest you watch this man, StooDogg, because he has more sense than any of the people that had reviewed myself and these other people. This guy is a genius.
Goes about
I'm
using
serious.
his Discord,
I'm impressed.
which has recently been.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that you found my video to be somewhat informative. I basically just tried my best to just tell the story as I was able to find it and just basically report on it as truthfully as I could. I didn't go out my way to follow any kind of an agenda or anything. It was just something I was interested in. Internet things that spring up is something that I find fascinating. And after seeing several videos about Jared Genesis by Hatman and Mr. G, it was a topic that I wanted to make a video on.
There are, of course, the good guys, or as one of them puts it, Mutley 2020, the goodies. I like the way that this man looks at things. He sees things in very black and white, good guys and bad guys, and he is definitely one of the good guys.
And my question is, out of all these facts, why am I looked at as a bad guy? And I'm not even doing nothing wrong. See, that's the only thing, like, you people know that I'm not doing nothing wrong, but you still have this built ego and thinking, well, Jared Wars is a bad guy, just like these other people like Daniel. And I'm like, really? And that's the one thing I disagree with everybody, because they all say overall, you know, the good guys are these people or that people, and the bad guys is this Jared Wars, which we're not going to say, but we mention the bad guys more in terms of Daniel Minecraft Man and Dark Ninja and all this stuff. All the time I go through this.
I wouldn't necessarily say that you were a bad guy. As I said in my last video, I do regard you as an oddity, an internet oddity. Like I said, very much like Doctor Who in that episode from all those years back.
And that's it, I'm afraid. There's no more from you on the transcript. That's the last I've got.
And I think our final matter of business is that an iguana is a type of lizard. It's like a bearded dragon kind of little lizard guy. If I remember after I've edited this video, I'll put a picture of one on the screen.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I have been StooDogg, and I have pieces of paper now scattered across my room that I need to go and pick up, so catch you later. See ya.
Good luck.
I started listening and I had absolutely no idea who StooDogg was or what the video was about.
Bravely, 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 brave, face Primarina. He was not in the least bit scared to be mashed into a pulp, or to have his eyes gouged out and his elbows broken, to have his kneecap split and his body burned away, and his limbs hacked and mangled. Brave face Primarina.
Captain Kirk is climbing a mountain. Why is he climbing a mountain? Captain Kirk is climbing a mountain. Why is he climbing a mountain? Captain Kirk is climbing a mountain. Why is he climbing a mountain? Captain Kirk is climbing a mountain. Why is he climbing a mountain?